Bronson was born November 3, 1921, in Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, a coal mining region in Pennsylvania's Allegheny Mountains, north of Johnstown. He was the 11th of 15 children born into a Roman Catholic family of Lithuanian heritage. 3. His father, Walter Buchinsky, born Valteris P. Bucinskis, 245, was a Lipka Tatar from Druskininkai in southern Lithuania. Bronson's mother, Mary Navalinsky, whose parents were from Lithuania, was born in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania in Pennsylvania's coal region. 6, 7, 8, 9. Bronson did not speak any English at home during his childhood in Pennsylvania, like many children he grew up with. He once recounted that, even as a soldier, his accent was strong enough to make his comrades think he was a foreigner. 10. Besides English, he could speak Lithuanian, Russian, and Greek. 11, 12. In a 1973 interview, Bronson remarked that he did not know his father very well and was not sure if he loved or hated him, adding that all he could remember about him was that whenever his mother announced that his father was coming home, the children would hide. 13. In 1933, Bronson's father died, and he went to work in the coal mines, first in the mining office and then in the mine. 2. He later said he earned $1 for each ton of coal that he mined. 10. In another interview, he said that he had to work double shifts to earn $1 a week. 13. Bronson later recounted that he and his brother engaged in dangerous work removing stumps between the mines, and that cave-ins were common. 13. The family suffered extreme poverty during the Great Depression, and Bronson recalled going hungry many times. His mother could not afford milk for his younger sister, so she was fed warm tea instead. 13. His family was so poor that he once had to wear his sister's dress to school for lack of clothing. 14. 15. Bronson was the first member of his family to graduate from high school. Bronson worked in the mines until enlisting in the United States Army Air Forces in 1943 during World War II. 2. He served in the 760th Flexible Gunnery Training Squadron, and in 1945 as a Boeing B-29 Superfortress aerial gunner with the Guam-based 61st Bombardment Squadron. 16. Within the 39th Bombardment Group, which conducted combat missions against the Japanese home islands. 17. He flew 25 missions and received a Purple Heart for wounds received in battle. 18 million per film. In 1974, Bronson starred in the controversial film Death Wish, also directed by Winner, about an architect-turned-vigilante, a role that typified the rest of his career. Most critics initially panned the film as exploitative, but the movie was a major box office success and spawned 4 sequels. Until his retirement in the late 1990s and death in 2003, Bronson played almost exclusively lead roles in action-oriented films, often working with director J. Lee Thompson in films such as Mr. Matchstick, 1974, Hard Times, 1975, St. Ives, 1976, The White Buffalo, 1977, Telephone, 1977, and Assassination, 1989. He made a number of non-action television films in which he would often act against type. In cinema, he played in the Western comedy From Noon Till 3, 1976, and a supporting role in The Indian Runner, 1991, a dramatic film for which his performance received good reviews. Bronson was scarred by his early deprivation and his early struggles as an actor. A 1973 newspaper profile said that he was so shy and introverted he could not watch his own films. Bronson was described as still suspicious, still holds grudges, still despises interviews, still hates to give anything of himself, still can't believe it has really happened to him. He was embittered that it took so long for him to be recognized in the U.S., and after achieving fame, he refused to work for a noted director who had snubbed him years before. 13. Critic Roger Ebert wrote in 1974 that Bronson does not volunteer information, does not elaborate, and has no theories about his films. He wrote that Bronson threatened to get Time magazine critic Jay Cox, who had written a negative review he viewed as a personal attack and, unlike other actors who projected violence on film, Bronson seemed violent in person. 10. His first marriage was to Harriet Tendler, whom he met when both were fledgling actors in Philadelphia. They had 2 children, Suzanne and Tony, before divorcing in 1965, 195. She was 18 years old when she met the 26-year-old Charlie Buchinsky at a Philadelphia acting school in 1947. 2 years later, with the grudging consent of her father, a successful Jewish dairy farmer, Tendler wed Buchinsky, a Catholic and a former coal miner. Tendler supported them both while she and Charlie pursued their acting dreams. On their first date, he had 4 cents in his pocket and went on, now as Charles Bronson, to become one of the highest-paid actors in the country, 196. Bronson was married to English actress Jill Ireland from October 5, 1968, 197, until her death in 1990. He had met her in 1962 when she was married to Scottish actor David McCallum. At the time, Bronson, who shared the screen with McCallum in The Great Escape, reportedly told him, "I'm going to marry your wife." The Bronsons lived in a Grand Bel Air mansion in Los Angeles with 7 children, 2 by his previous marriage, 3 by hers, one of whom was adopted, and 2 of their own, Zuleika and Katrina, the latter of whom was also adopted. 198. After they married, she often played his leading lady, and they starred in 15 films together. 199. To maintain a close family, they would load up everyone and take them to wherever filming was taking place so that they could all be together. They spent time in a colonial farmhouse on 260 acres, 1.1 square kilometers, in West Windsor, Vermont, 193, where Ireland raised horses and provided training for their daughter Zuleika so that she could perform at the higher levels of horse showing. 121. 130. The family frequented Snowmass, Colorado, in the 1980s and early 1990s for the winter holidays. 121. 248. On May 18, 1990, aged 54, after a long battle with breast cancer, Jill Ireland died of the disease at their home in Malibu, California. 200. In the 1991 television film Reason for Living, The Jill Ireland Story, Bronson was portrayed by actor Lance Henriksen. 201. In December 1998, Bronson was married for a 3rd time to Kim Weeks, an actress and former employee of Dove Audio who had helped Record Ireland in the production of her audiobooks. The couple were married for 5 years until Bronson's death in 2003. 202. Bronson died at age 81 on August 30, 2003, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. Although pneumonia and Alzheimer's disease have been cited as his cause of death, neither appears on his death certificate, which cites respiratory failure, metastatic lung cancer, with, secondarily, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and congestive cardiomyopathy as the causes of death. 192. He was interred at Brownsville Cemetery in West Windsor, Vermont. 193.